Portugal keeps coming up. I get it. The comments, emails, guys telling me they're looking hard at Portugal instead of the Philippines. Let's talk about the visa and why it sounds like a steal. The number that gets Portugal all the buzz is, yes, the main retirement visa. It's called the D7. Only requires you to show around $970 a month in income, plus about $11,000 in savings. Now, compared to Mexico, which we covered in the last video, Mexico wants $4,400 a month or $74,000 sitting in the bank. Portugal, a quarter of that. That alone is probably why some retirement forums online are obsessed with Portugal. Qualifying for it is easy. Now, getting anyone actually to look at your paperwork, that's a different story, and we'll get to that. But a low bar to qualify is not the same as actually living there. That's the part the headline numbers hide. Here's what's not talked about. Portugal's immigration office. It's the AIMA. I'd tell you what that initialism stands for, but I'm a bit lacking as of now in my Portuguese. Don't speak the language. They renamed it that a couple of years back, and it has such a backlog that people are waiting 3 to 6 months just to get their in-person appointment. That's just the appointment. That is not the approval. Just the appointment. And here's the ridiculous part that actually costs you a big chunk of change. You need to get their assigned 12-month lease before you can even apply. So you're basically paying rent on an empty apartment in Portugal from wherever you're currently living for months while you wait on a government office to get around to you. You know, it's like putting a deposit down on a house before you're even approved for a loan, except that deposit runs you a full year of rent, and that can stretch half a year on its own. They're not in any hurry. I like to say that's also known as just pissing your money away. Now, there used to be a tax break there called the NHR. It let new residents pay a flat, low rate on their income for 10 years. That's gone. It ended a couple of years back. Now, if you become a Portuguese tax resident, which happens automatically, I think once you're there for over a half a year, 6 months, your entire worldwide income gets taxed at Portugal's regular rates. That can be up to 48% at the top end. So that version of Portugal, a lot of older retirement videos describe cheap to get into, favorable taxes once you're there. That just doesn't exist anymore. Sure, the visa's easy to qualify for, but everything after you land has gotten a hell of a lot more expensive. And here's the part that'll actually sting if you've been following the news on this. Portugal did roll out a replacement tax break. It's called the IFIC, more of their initialisms. Sounds like it might soften the blow, except it's built for high-skilled workers, and it explicitly excludes the D7 visa. So if you're living off a pension, that program isn't for you. You're not missing an old deal. There's a brand new one sitting right there, and it still doesn't include you. Here's the number that actually decides this for most people. A single person needs somewhere between $2,200 and $3,000 a month to live comfortably in Portugal in 2026. And that's climbing because all the expats are moving in for that visa. They're driving up rent in Lisbon, Porto, along the Silver Coast, the exact places everybody pictures when they picture retiring in Portugal. Right now, here, I'm about $400 a month for groceries. Last month, the electric bill was $113. It'll be going up, along with a few other costs we already mentioned, and I don't have rent. But run that next to what I'm actually spending here in the province, and it's not even close in comparison to Portugal. A couple of other differences worth knowing before you commit. Portugal's public health care is cheap on paper, but waits for specialists are a common complaint, which is why a lot of expats there end up paying for private insurance, and that's on top of the tax that they're already paying. Same story here with the Philippines, honestly. Public system exists. Most expats carry coverage regardless. So that one is basically roughly a wash. The one that isn't a wash if you're picturing citizenship down the road for Portugal, Portugal now requires A2 level Portuguese test. Basic conversation ability, but it's still a real exam. And then the wait to even qualify for citizenship just stretched to 10 years for non-EU citizens under a new law that changed earlier this year. If you haven't studied a foreign language since high school, that's just not an easy thing to do. It takes a little bit of time. The Philippines, English, one of the official languages. No test ever. So let's just add it up instead of leaving it all scattered. 6 months, maybe more, sitting on a lease you can't even use yet, waiting on an appointment, a tax bill that can run you tens of thousands of dollars more over time than the same income would cost you here, and the cost of living alone, just rent, food, and basics, $2,200 to $3,000 a month. That's somewhere between $132,000 and $180,000 over 5 years for one person, before you've paid $1 in tax or spent a day of that appointment wait. And believe me, it's 3 to 6 months, sometimes more. My own number here runs $800 to $900 a month. Hell, I'll be generous. I'll go with the $1,200 number that everyone likes to kick around. Do that same 5-year math on it, and the gap isn't even close. That's $72,000 for 5 years compared to Portugal's low end of $132,000. And that doesn't even include the tax bill that we spoke about. That's the number that should be deciding this, not the headline income requirement that gets all the attention. So here's the honest version. Portugal wins on one thing. The paperwork itself, genuinely easy to qualify for. Now, getting someone at the AIMA to open the envelope, to look at your paperwork, that's a whole different game. I'll give them just the paperwork part. But qualifying for the visa isn't the same as affording the life once you're living in it. Once you add the wait, the year of rent you pay before you even know if you're approved, the tax rates that kick in once you land, and the real monthly cost you're there, the math just stops favoring Portugal. Now, I never had to run these numbers myself because I was never tempted, but now that I have, it's clear why more and more of you end up landing here instead of there. If you want to see exactly what I'm spending here every month, check out the linked videos below in the description. Great watches before you decide to go anywhere else. And if this saved you from finding out about the 12-month lease before it drains your cash up front, I say slap a like on this video so YouTube will pass this knowledge on to other guys that are making the plans. Subscribe, because every video I make here is to help you figure out if you're actually the guy who can do this before you find out the hard way. Oh, and these vids here can actually give you a good perspective as well. Be excellent to each other, and remember, this was never about the Philippines. It's how you arrive when you get here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.